Today we are going to start with the first chapter of section A, that is plant taxonomy. Okay. In this chapter we are going to study the history and how the branch of science, that is plant taxonomy, how this evolved during the different periods, different centuries, how we reached to the modern concept of taxonomy. Now, why the study of this science is important? Because nowadays, when we know that lot of information is getting generated all over the world, number of species are being discovered. They are recorded in the form of inventories. The data is being managed for the very preliminary step for any kind of the study, that is the identification of a species. If we look at our roots, the system of taxonomy was very strong almost 50 to 100 years back. But with the advent of new sciences, applied sciences, slowly and gradually the trend shifted more towards the cytogenetics, towards the biotechnology. Okay, so somewhere this field of taxonomy is lagging behind. But now the interest is being generated again. Why? Because for any kind of the information, when you have to start working upon any biological species, that should be identified first. So there comes the role of plant taxonomy. There good taxonomists are required. Okay. Now, before going into the details of the current concepts of taxonomy, we should know what is the background of this science, how this science evolved through different stages. So what is taxonomy? It is the science of naming, describing, and classifying organisms. It means, for example, you observe a particular species in a grassland or in a forest area, then let's suppose it's a new species, okay? So what will you do? Firstly, you will give it a scientific name. That will be the naming part. Then you will describe that species. Description is related to morphology, anatomy. It may be somehow related to origin of the species. It may have some medicinal value, economic value. So on that basis, you will explain or describe that species completely. And then on the basis of characters, you will classify it. Means in which group it should be placed. As a technical system, we have 7 ranks in taxonomy. There may be 8 as well. Sometimes there is one more rank called domain. A broad category is given. But otherwise, the fundamental one, we have 7 different ranks. And you all know, we start from the lowest rank in this hierarchy, that is species. Next is genus, family, order, class, phylum, and kingdom. So when we are talking about plant taxonomy, it means we are saying now the kingdom is plantae, right? You all know this thing. Now from where this word originated? Now the word is derived from 2 words. One is taxis and it is Taxis, taxis, and the second is nomia. Taxis word means arrangement, because we are arranging different genera, different species under the system of hierarchy, right? So that's why this is called taxis. Nomia means method. So how we are placing that unknown species by providing it a proper scientific name, proper description, and then we are placing it under this system of the hierarchy of classification, that is called taxonomy. So the word originates from 2 words, taxis, which means arrangement, and nomia, which means method. So that is a little background of taxonomy. Now, whenever we talk about the ancient times, the taxonomy of that period was called folk taxonomy. Okay, because we did not had much of the information related to the chromosomes, nucleic acids, amino acids, all these techniques, they are the evolved ones. But the very primitive methods which were used to classify plants or animals, they are counted under folk taxonomy. So folk taxonomy, it is an earliest discipline of botany, and it started in 15th century. It has deep cultural roots in all parts of the world. Okay, so information was not generated in any one continent, rather it was in a whole world, from where the information related to the taxonomy, that how we are categorizing plants and animals, that was coming. So we find its roots in African, Asian and American continents. Whatever we are following today, the modern classification systems, they are basically derived from European countries. Okay, so whatever we are following these days, all we will study different phases of taxonomy, and we will study there the alpha, beta, gamma types. So the most modern the type of taxonomy, that has European base. Now this is an important part of your syllabus, phases of taxonomy. So we will start from the earliest works related to the classification of plants. Now we are talking about plant taxonomy here, and how that evolved. We reached to the phylogenetic systems, and then there was the numerical taxonomy. So how step by step all these things happened. Now whenever we want to study taxonomy, okay, we talked about folk taxonomy. Folk taxonomy was like the people differentiated plants on the basis of their economic value. Okay, so that was a kind of herbal taxonomy. So the major purpose was because humans, they were living more in close to the nature, and they were utilizing plants, so they had more of the information about the use of plants. So that is, it was based on the economic value of the plants. So earlier systems of taxonomy, the classification, they were based on the economical values, whereas later on we corroborated that data with the information from chromosomes, information from DNA techniques. Okay, so later on that information was added, and then the modern systems evolved. So if we talk about the phases, there are 4 phases of taxonomy. The first phase is called pioneer or exploratory phase. As the name suggests, pioneer means the very first, and exploratory means when we are finding something, right? So this was basically the period when scientists, they were gathering information about different species, and they were making record of that. Okay, no new information was being added, just that the specimen was explained on the basis of whatever economic value it had. So it was just building records. Then second phase is consolidation or systematic phase. Now systematic means to put things in order. Consolidate also means the same thing. Means now we are getting information about different genera all over the world, and on the basis of their morphology, there is development of floras. So written monographs, floras, they were coming up those days from different parts of the world. So that was the consolidation of all data that was obtained during the exploratory phase. Then the third phase is experimental or biosystematic phase. Now this phase is, this introduced the concept in which other sciences, they also played role, like the techniques were being evolved to study chromosomes. So we can compare species at chromosome level. Then the breeding behavior of the plants, the concept of evolution, the common origin, common ancestor of the species, all these concepts, they were being considered, and on that information, the summation of that information, the plants were classified. So that was called experimental or biosystematic phase. And the last phase is the encyclopedic phase. This is the one which is totally, it was a different science in which numerical taxonomy formed the base of this era. So numerical taxonomy means you are studying number of characters. For example, you have species, unknown species A, unknown species B. So you are studying number of characters in that. Okay, related to, now we are talking about holotaxonomy. Holotaxonomy means whatever information is available, the complete information is being used. Okay, so we use the term holotaxonomy. So here holo doesn't mean whole, it is not HOLE, it means whole information available about that genera, that will be considered. So similarly here also you have lot of information from the chromosomal studies, from amino acid assays. Okay, so morphological analysis, the breeding part, the evolution part, all that information. So all those characters, they are fed through a numerical system, through various methods. We have computerized methods, and from that, the to which group that species matches more, so that should be selected in the hierarchical order. To that family, that this unknown species will be shifted. So it has totally revolutionized the concept of taxonomy. Okay, so whatever information is available, that is fed into the system for a particular species, and it will give you the analysis that okay, the species A should belong to this family. Okay, so this is a most recent technique. So now we will study about different scientists who were active, who gave the pioneer studies or the initial work in relation to taxonomy. It is not mandatory that you learn each and every scientist of that phase. You can remember 2 or 3 from each. Okay. Otherwise, it will become a laborious exercise for you, because if you get a question on phases of taxonomy, the more important thing is that you have to explain what were the changes during those phases. Okay, what information was actually being expressed, what change occurred, and along with that, you can give 2 or 3 references of the famous taxonomist of that period. So we are starting with the pioneer or exploratory phase. Now during this, the very first attempt to explain plants, that was by Theophrastus. You all know Theophrastus is father of botany, right? This is Theophrastus. So he gave the concept of the plants. Now it was published in the form of Inquiry into Plants. Okay, and he gave information about few plants like Daucus, carrot, asparagus, nargis. So he gave this published work, a research paper in which information about few plants was given. Then the next important taxonomist was Pliny. This is a picture of Pliny. He wrote a book on taxonomy, that is Natural History. Okay, so here again, and it was a very, very voluminous book. 37 volumes of this book, they were written by him, and in this he included vast information about the different genera. Then during this period, the herbarium collection, the herbarium maintenance of herbarium, that technique also developed. So, and the very first herbarium, that was built in 1553 in Padua, Italy. You can learn this. Then in the 17th century, all over the world, in the different parts, the herbaria, they were started being established. Why? Because you know, whenever the information is given in the form of book, definitely the pictures are being pasted there, but observing a real specimen from a herbarium is far convenient, more informative as compared to the pictures, right? When you are observing a real specimen from the herbarium, that gives better idea, that gives better picture of that genus. So that's why this technique of maintaining herbaria all over the world, it became quite famous. Now, then we had number of scientists in this period. You know about Linnaeus. Okay, Linnaeus, who was the taxonomist behind the introduction of binomial nomenclature. Binomial nomenclature, where we say that every scientific name should have 2 parts, genus and species. That concept was popularized by Linnaeus. Then his contemporaries were Bohn, John Ray, D. Tournefort, all these scientists, all these taxonomists, they were involved in developing the concept of taxonomy, and they gave some beautiful concepts like the concept of species. classification and nomenclature. See, before that, whatever information was given, it was just a record. For example, I have species A, species B, C. I am giving information about that. I am not classifying it. Okay, but later on, by the almost end of the 16th century and 17th century, the idea of classification, it started. So, in which means we are now making the groups of plants. Okay, for example, I say A and C has more resemblance, so it should be kept in family this. Similarly, B has resemblance with some other species, so it should be kept with that. So that is the classification part. So it started. So I told you about Linnaeus. He gave the first system of classification, and that was an artificial system of classification, which was considering mainly few morphological characters only, and they were related to the androecium of plants. So that was the very first attempt to classify plants according to their morphological characters. Now, this is all about the exploratory phase. So we observe that in the exploratory phase, we are just exploring, means we are finding out the species and we are naming those species. Okay, just on the basis of morphological characters. Now, the second phase is consolidation phase. I told you consolidate means to aggregate the data, to accumulate the data. Now we are summing up the information, whatever is available in the form of floras, monographs. So the work, it was started by D. Candolle. He modified the linear system of classification. This person is D. Candolle. Then the better classification was given by Bentham and Hooker. They gave natural system of classification. They published a book, Genera Plantarum. They published number of books related to taxonomy, Systema Naturae, and in those books they gave elaborated information about number of genus, and all those genera, they were arranged according to a natural system of classification. Natural means whatever characters are available related to the morphology, the development, they were considered while classifying plants. So it was the most popular system that is followed till date. Okay, whenever you have to classify a plant, the most favorable system which is followed till date is Bentham and Hooker system of classification. Then we had another by Charles Darwin, which was a revolutionary concept, that is, he mentioned in Origin of Species. He gave the concept that how the species, they get evolved, how they are originated, right? Then Dobzhansky, he published the concept of biological species. The biological species concept, that basically says, okay, when can you say, for example, you have species A and B, when can you say that they are different species? Whatever you study under the definition of a species, we say a species means the group of interbreeding population reproductively isolated from any other such group of population. It means if I am having organism 1, organism 2, organism 3, and I am saying that these organisms can interbreed, so they belong to same species. Let's suppose that species is A, but these cannot interbreed, so they are reproductively isolated. It means this must belong to some other species, right? So they gave a clear-cut concept of species, that when we should call an organism belonging to a particular species or not. So the concept is, what is a species? Species is a group of interbreeding population reproductively isolated from any other such group. Okay, so then you will call it a species. So that concept, it was developed by Dobzhansky. Okay, now during this period, the phylogenetic system also evolved. Phylogeny is, you people have studied two terms. One is called phylogeny and the other is called ontogeny. What is phylogeny? The ancestral history of an organism. The ancestral history is called phylogeny, whereas the individual history is called ontogeny. And we say that there is a core concept whenever you study evolution, then we talk about these terms. So those phylogenetic systems of classification, they also started during this phase, consolidation phase. And in this case, the attempt was made by Engler and Prandtl. This is another famous system of classification that we study in lower classes. Now, Engler and Prandtl, they gave a semi-phylogenetic system of classification. This is Engler and Prandtl. Now, what is semi-phylogenetic system of classification? It means, see, phylogeny means ancestral history, right? So we are talking about how the origin took place, how the different organs they evolved, then it becomes phylogeny. But along with that, they consider the anatomical characters as well. So when they were classifying plants, they considered anatomical characters as well as the complexity of flower, fruit and seed evolution. Okay, how these evolved. So both these things, they were considered. So this criteria shows that it is a phylogenetic, and this shows that it is not completely phylogenetic. It is considering the natural characters also. So that's why this system is called a semi-phylogenetic system of classification, and it was published in the book Die Naturlichen Pflanzenfamilien. Then purely phylogenetic system, the very first system, that was given by Bessay. So a pure phylogenetic system was given by Bessay in the book Dictas of Phylogeny. And further this classification was improved by Hellier. Then we again have an important reference in this phase, which is of John Hutchinson. And he put forward, again, see, now the end of this period, that was all related to the phylogenetic work. So he put forward 24 principles of phylogeny. And then he proposed his own Hutchinson system of phylogenetic classification in the book Families of Flowering Plants. This is another famous classification that is followed, the Hutchinson system of classification. This man is Hutchinson. Few more phylogenetic systems, they were proposed by Takhtajan, Cronquist, Stebbins, Robert Thorne. Okay, and now they considered different characters from ecology, how the plants are distributed, their anatomical characters, palynology, study of the pollen grains, cytology, biochemistry. All these criteria, they were considered along with the morphology of plants, and different systems of classification were proposed by the end of the second phase. And the technique of herbarium preparation, by this phase, this technique was also established, that how the herbaria should be maintained, how these specimens should be preserved. Then comes the third phase, the experimental or biosystematic phase. This is a phase that is during the beginning of the 20th century, we observe this period. And in this phase, we say that the new term called new systematics, that was added. Now, what is new systematics? Systematics is the taxonomy. It's a term for taxonomy. What is new or neo-systematics? That means now the taxonomy is not only inclined to towards the morphology of the plants or the anatomical characters. Now it is an overall approach. So in this case, now we are considering about the whatever characters, whatever studies, whatever information related to that plant species is available. So that should be considered while placing it or classifying it. So that is called the concept of neo-systematics or holotaxonomy. Holo, I told you, that means whatever information, whole information related to that should be considered. Now, this term new systematics was proposed by Huxley, and later on it was again renamed as biosystematics by Camp and Gilly. So now we talk about biosystematics. So what we consider in this? Number, size and shape of the chromosomes, they are considered. So now we have the variants in the taxonomist field. Okay, earlier we were having plant taxonomist, animal taxonomist. Now further there were subcategories on the basis of specialization they had. For example, those who are studying the chromosomal aspect of the species, they were called cytotaxonomist. They were providing that information. Then some techniques related to the biochemistry, paper chromatography, then secondary metabolite identification in plants. All those, they led to another branch of taxonomy called chemotaxonomy. Means we are studying about the chemicals in relation to taxonomy. For example, I am talking about a family. Let's suppose I am talking about Myrtaceae, okay, or I am discussing Solanaceae. So when I am studying the chemical profile of members of these families, in Myrtaceae we have eucalyptus. You all know eucalyptus, Sapheda, and in Solanaceae we have Solanum, Petunia, right, Brinjal. So they belong to this family. So I can have chemical profile of members of family Solanaceae. Similarly, members of family Myrtaceae, there would be variation, and that variation can help me placing some unknown genera into this or this family, right? I can have that information. So that is another subfield of taxonomy called chemotaxonomy. Then further new techniques they evolved, like amino acid sequencing, nucleotide sequencing. So now I can place plants or genera on the basis of their nucleotide sequence. So let's suppose I have organism 1, organism 2, organism 3, okay, and I have the nucleotide sequence of the members of family Solanaceae and members of family Myrtaceae. So when I analyze the nucleotide sequence of this, so it matches 80% with Solanaceae. Let's suppose second member matches around 90% to Myrtaceae, and the third member, it matches only 20% to Solanaceae and no matching with Myrtaceae. There must be some matching. Let's suppose it is 20% with Myrtaceae. Okay, because we all know that the nucleotide sequences, they have very little variation. So I can place, it means the first organism under Solanaceae. I can consider other characters also, and on the basis of the comparison, I can finalize it should belong to Solanaceae. Similarly, I will say second species should belong to, it cannot be 100% affirmation. It should belong to Myrtaceae. You have to cross verify this with other characters or other branches of taxonomy as well, right? And then you have this shouldn't belong to these family. You should look into some other families for matching this genus. So this is how the sequencing, amino acid or nucleotide sequencing, it plays a role in classifying the organisms. Last is the encyclopedic or holotaxonomic phase. Now this phase is, actually this is sum of all three phases that we have discussed. Means whatever information is available, that is gathered, it is analyzed, and some meaningful information is withdrawn from that, and then we use that for final classification. And how this is done? This is on the basis of the concept of numerical taxonomy. In numerical taxonomy, we take help of computerized programs. We enlist number of characters of different families, like you have organism 1, A, organism B, okay. You have the information about their morphological characters, anatomical characters, cytological characters, chemical profile, right? All these things you have information about that. You will put in that information, and then you will run a program, and afterwards you will get that okay, this plant belongs more, resembles more to this family. You will get information about that. Similarly, you can have number of species which can be analyzed by this technique. This is more mathematical and statistical data that we are using, but it is based on whatever work was done previously during the first 3 phases. If you don't have that base information, what you will put in that software or computer, right? So it is dependent upon the first phases, but it is totally a novel science, a new science in which it can directly generate you without any laborious exercise. You can get the information to which to which family or class your organism belongs. So this has revolutionized the concept of taxonomy. So that's all for today. We have to discuss the next concept that is related to the different components of taxonomy that we may discuss in the next lecture. So till this much, that what is the folk taxonomy, what are the phases of taxonomy, what happened, what new progress was there in the field of taxonomy during those phases, with a brief reference of the famous taxonomist of that area, of that period. You have to prepare a 7-mark question on basis of this. Thank you.